Welcome back to A Veil of Crime, where we uncover the dark and complicated stories that shape our understanding of justice and survival. Today, we are diving into the harrowing case of Francine Hughes, a woman whose story became a rallying cry for victims of domestic abuse across the nation. Francine Hughes was born in 1947 and was raised in Michigan. Her childhood was marked by hardship and limited opportunities, and like many women of her generation, she married young. Francine wed James "Mickey" Hughes, a man whose charm quickly gave way to controlling and violent behavior. Their marriage was plagued with abuse, physical, emotional, and psychological, that left Francine living in a constant state of fear. Mickey would frequently beat her, sometimes in front of their 4 children, leaving Francine with visible injuries and emotional scars. Francine tried to leave the marriage several times, but she was repeatedly coerced into returning, often under threats to her life or for the safety of her children. In an era where domestic violence was largely considered a private matter, law enforcement provided little help. Francine felt trapped and completely hopeless. On the night of March 9, 1977, the abuse reached a terrifying peak. Mickey had spent the evening drinking and became increasingly violent, beating Francine once again and smashing objects around the house. Terrified for her life and for the safety of her children, Francine waited until Mickey fell asleep on the bed, drunk and unaware. She gathered the children, put them in the car, and she returned to the house. In a moment that would shock the nation, Francine poured gasoline around the bed and lit it on fire, killing Mickey in the blaze. Francine immediately drove to the police and confessed. Her arrest set the stage for one of the most significant legal battles in U.S. history regarding domestic abuse and self-defense. At trial, her defense attorney used what would later be known as the battered woman syndrome defense, arguing that Francine's actions were the result of years of abuse and a reasonable belief that her life was in imminent danger. The jury acquitted Francine Hughes of murder, recognizing her act as self-defense. This case was groundbreaking because it brought national attention to the issue of domestic violence and how the legal system treats its victims. Her story was later adapted into the 1984 television film The Burning Bed, starring Farrah Fawcett, which became a cultural touchstone and sparked conversations about abuse and justice. In her later years, Francine sought a quieter life, raising her children and avoiding the public spotlight. Her story, however, continued to inspire advocates, lawyers, and survivors to fight for stronger protections for victims of domestic abuse. Francine passed away in 2017, but her legacy lives on in legal reforms and the courage of survivors who find their voice. Francine Hughes' story is a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked domestic violence, but also a story of courage and survival. Her case changed how we talk about abuse, how courts handle self-defense, and how society understands the plight of victims. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the case that reshaped domestic violence law. If you found this episode moving and important, please like, subscribe, and share this story so we can continue to shine a light on the cases that matter the most.